Just look at Clarence Thomas, whose corruption is almost comical. Secret trips to retreats, international vacations on super yachts, and private jet jaunts to New Haven for an afternoon. Here in Congress, we are forbidden from receiving gifts that exceed $50. But Justice Thomas has received more than $4 million in gifts.
The crazy part is that's not even the worst part of it.
In not so distant past, the presidents or certain presidents have engaged in various activity, coups or operations like Operation Mongoose when I was a teenager, and yet there were no prosecutions.
I love the argument of, well, I mean, other presidents have done things that are illegal. How come they weren't prosecuted for those things that were illegal? Like, I mean, which he's talking about a coup. He mentioned Operation Mongoose, which was, Kennedy trying to, have a coup in another country, in South American countries like and Cuba, and which if I would love if we just prosecuted the CIA and presidents for everything that they did in South America and throughout the world. If we started having war crimes tribunals, like that'd be just amazing. But Clarence Thomas doesn't want that. We know he doesn't want any of that.
I want to thank the Supreme Court justices for having the courage. Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, John Roberts, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett, for the wisdom and the courage to do this. This took a great deal of courage and a great deal of wisdom to do this.
What's also really funny here is that Trump's immunity, the whole argument is predicated on that a president should have discretionary powers because, they need to run the country and they shouldn't always be concerned with, legality and stuff like that. And that's a conversation, and that's a good conversation that can take you down many roads. But that's not what any of this is. Like, what is Trump getting convicted for and being on trial for? These are things that he did before and after his presidency. Okay, so like before was the mishandling documents, Stormy Daniels, and fraudulently inflating the value of his stuff. The secret documents, that's after he left office, where he vehemently refused to not give them back. So what else? Oh, the only thing he needs discretionary power for was what he did after he lost the election, which is him trying to dismantle our democracy with the fake electors and the trying to get the votes thrown out, vote tampering. That's literally the only thing that he needs immunity for. It's not something to deal with some nuance or something, or even I'd love for him to be held accountable for all the drone strikes that happened on his watch. He did way more drone striking than Obama did, which says a lot.
And I do believe that Chief Justice John Roberts must now come forward and state if he allows and is allowing this kind of very serious corruption to happen on this court. I think, when it comes to Justice Thomas's statement, when he's talking about his colleagues and when he's talking about who advised him to break the law, I think we need to know who those people are.
Yeah, Trump has stacked the Supreme Court. We've seen the effects of this. And there was so much of this sort of neo-lib being like, oh, it's not that bad. They're never going to overturn abortion. Come on. And, then the Supreme Court, day by day is doing the thing that, everyone said, no, it's never going to get that bad. Come on now. So when Trump gets another term, he's going to be able to stack the Supreme Court even more, right? Like we will have spend the rest of our lives with a very, awful Supreme Court, justices like filling the place up.
One of the things I say in response to the media is when they talk about, or especially early on, about the way I did my job, I said, I will absolutely leave the court when I do my job as poorly as you do yours. And that was meant as a compliment, really.
I think we need to be firm that there should be actual accountability for Supreme Court justices, term limits, all of these things, and then it shouldn't be this absolute lifetime appointment. This isn't the Vatican, right? And I think we need to stay on that because, listen, let's say the next election, goes well. Let's say the election after that goes well, and we get a few more, good Supreme Court justices on there. That still doesn't solve the problem. And a lot of people will be like, well, we solved the problem. We don't have to do any fundamental changes. And I swear that is what is going to happen, in if we let it, right? Like, let's say things go well election-wise. You can't let the neoliberals, the centrists, have their way in that type of situation. It's ridiculous.